Today, we are going to be telling you about an all-time Nintendo legend at Nintendo for like 40 plus years. He just retired.
We know him well.
Yes, let us tell you about who this person is. Great, he's awesome. We're also going to be reacting to the news that maybe Switch 2 is not coming in the Nintendo fiscal year. So it's not coming. The earliest it might come is April of 2025.
My emotions are dictated by fiscal years at this point.
The fiscal, though.
That's where I've reached in my life.
How are you emotionally?
It all comes down to the fiscal year.
Are you fiscally emotional?
Fiscally, physically, emotionally? All of the above.
All of the above.
Shaky.
Shaky, all of the above is not good.
That's where I am.
Yeah, so interesting stuff that came out. And yeah, we're going to talk about that, react to that, share some insider knowledge.
Whoa,
about that.
It is the big week for Gamescom.
It is.
Which, this is not Germany. We are not in Germany. You have been talking about wanting a schnitzel a whole lot.
I do love a schnitzel.
Yes, because there was a brief moment we were talking about maybe we could go.
Yes.
We decided not to.
We have such a busy travel
a lot of other
schedule.
things happening here. Just weren't able to fit it into the schedule.
Right, unfortunately.
But again,
maybe next time.
you were hungry for the schnitzel.
I do love a schnitzel.
The show has not yet properly begun at the time of us recording this, so maybe that's just a good note. Like if there is some crazy breaking news, like we'll probably do something standalone on that on our channel.
Exactly.
But some of the companies that we work with, they're very smart and they realize that not everybody here can make it out to Germany.
Yeah.
So we're going to be attending a cool event, which I don't think we can say what it is or who it's for.
Let's not, just in case.
So we'll just call it a mystery event.
It's a cool, awesome, exciting mystery event.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some neat stuff that we're going to be seeing. And you may see, again, we don't know exactly, they haven't told us yet exactly if there's an embargo or whatnot. So we'll just keep the tease as vague and maybe annoying as possible as a result. But
when and if we find out what that embargo is, we will be creating a lot of content around the mystery event and sharing with you what it is we got up to.
How much more vague can we be?
That's it.
Something will happen. Maybe, maybe not.
Well, something will happen.
Schnitzels, though. Well, they have schnitzels. That's a big question.
I should call them. There is a dinner.
Demand a schnitzel.
Maybe I can get schnitzel at the dinner.
This is your power move. I need a schnitzel.
My rider to attend this event. I need
as my name's Krysta Yang, I need a schnitzel.
I need somebody wearing the lederhosen. I need all the things.
Excellent.
Yes.
We have a great video also up on our channel, moving away from schnitzels, ranking the first 5 minutes of every 2D Zelda game.
I had an epiphany.
Oh?
When I was doing this back to back to back to back. When you watch the first 5 minutes of every 2D
How many games
Zelda.
was this? This was like 10, 12?
I think it was like
10-ish.
10-ish, yeah.
Okay.
More than 8, less than 15.
Yeah.
That was also
kind of a lot.
Weird. Yes, it was quite a lot. But there's something that happens to your brain when you have to do this like back to back to back like this, because you do see the shortcomings, you see the triumphs of some of the games that do this really well, and you see how like it can bleed into the rest of your experience, how important the first 5 minutes of something is, or the first, your first interaction with something is. So yeah, it was an interesting experiment. Towards the middle, you had like an out-of-body experience that we caught on camera, so whatever. That was good.
I mean, going through it, you definitely feel some highs and lows. And there were some 5 minutes where I was immediately captivated, and there were some where I was completely checked out.
You were.
Merely minutes into the game.
You like glazed over.
And again, I want to emphasize, we are rating only the first 5 minutes. This is not like, oh, this game overall is a whatever. It's like, no. Only the 5 minutes. Let me be as clear as possible about that.
You guys are gonna be mad at us.
Because maybe there are some games that I really like that just don't get off on the strongest foot.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Wow. What an experience. What a revealing experience that was.
Yep.
Truly, truly.
So that's out on the channel. You should check that out. Also out very soon.
Very soon.
Our spoiler cast for Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
How lucky were we to be playing this game in the lead up to Echoes of Wisdom, to have all that stuff come out, all that new info come out for Echoes of Wisdom last week, where it just seemed like this is the perfect lead up game for it. And gosh, what an all-time classic, you know? And then getting to do the spoiler cast on it was so much fun to like dig into this in the context of, oh my God, we're going to have a brand new 2D top-down Zelda game coming out in this world, in this game world, in mere weeks at this point.
Yeah.
Wow. How the stars have aligned. Don't you agree?
I think this was one of our best spoiler casts. Also turned out to be one of our longest. There was just so much to talk about.
So great.
I will give a bit of a warning now. We do delve into the Zelda timeline, which is something that I think we typically try to steer clear of for reasons. And kind of Zelda's story overall, which, interestingly, we know is very, very popular topic amongst our community.
Yeah.
So kind of one of our first big opportunities to really look at Zelda stories as a whole.
Yeah.
And I had some realizations about Zelda's story overall, and in this game in particular, that really did help me look at this game and think about Zelda stories in a different way.
I agree. I thought I knew it all. No, just kidding.
Let me tell you, you definitely don't.
I really thought I knew it all, guys.
You sure don't.
Oh, I didn't know that. But, you know, I am a consumer of Zelda timeline videos, and I love to read about the Zelda story. I love Zelda's story in general. You're not as much of a story person when it comes to Zelda.
True.
You're much more of like a gameplay person.
Or games in general, honestly.
Or games in general. I'm much more of like, I love the narrative. I love a well-told story in a game. And I just have these hopes and dreams for the Zelda story that never seems to get quite fulfilled. It's always like, it always falls short. I think a lot of Zelda fans might feel like this. It just always sort of like, it's like you're 85% there. Or like you play another game, you're like, oh, we're going to get there this time. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, we're going to get there with a story. And then it's like, 80%. You know what I mean? So going into this and knowing that we would have to talk about the story, I was kind of interested to like re-look at what a classic Zelda game was doing with the story. And wow, I got a big surprise. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Sure.
It was pretty amazing. And I think we both just like were kind of in awe at like what we uncovered. That I mean, honestly, when I was playing this game as a kid, and I did not know this. So, wow. I'm sure others know this already, but I honestly, like when I played this game, you know, I did not realize the story and the background that was provided for this game. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yes, that is going to be out any day now. We'll let you know. As always, that is a Patreon exclusive. And the Patreon shop is a thing that exists. Some people may not know yet.
Yes.
If you want to just get that as a standalone thing, if you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
And now we have this great library of spoiler casts, which I'm growing more and more proud of.
I am too. We're almost, we're getting towards the latter part of the year. When we get to the end, we will have 12 spoiler casts for 2024. And all of them were so fun for us to do, and games that we, whether it's games that were new that we were playing or games that we loved and replayed. Like, what a great mix of spoiler casts that are up on our shop.
In this Zelda one, at the end, we do reveal the September spoiler cast.
Right.
If you're not listening to that, we will reveal it in next week's podcast, this podcast episode. And there's only 1 month of the year that we still have to figure out. Because October will be Echoes of Wisdom.
Yep.
December will be Brothership. So November is the one that's kind of floating out in the open that we got to figure out.
We got to figure out one for November. But wow, we've already got 2 new Nintendo games on the schedule for
it's nice.
spoiler casts, which
Very
is really
nice.
Cool. I know what we can do it on.
What?
Mario Party Jamboree. Just kidding.
Oh, no.
No. We're not doing that.
We're kind of switching up the normal segments today, and we're going to start with the news, and we'll get into that in a moment. But first, we have to shout out our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. We love HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit.
I realized I went to the grocery store a few weeks ago, and everything is so expensive.
Very true.
I couldn't believe it. Like, a carton of eggs was like ridiculously expensive. I don't know what's going on, but...
And you're notoriously out of touch with how much things cost, so this must have been some real
shocker
for you.
It was a jarring experience. I was like, why is it like $12.99 for a carton of eggs? Like, what the heck is going on?
Where are these eggs coming from?
What kind of these chickens are they? And you know what? The other thing is when you buy a bunch of stuff at the grocery store, like a lot of it goes to waste.
You throw a lot of it away.
Exactly.
And then you feel bad on multiple layers.
Well, your bank account feels really bad.
This is wasting food, but I'm also wasting money.
A lot of money, yeah. Or you have just like a bunch of spices that are just sitting around in your cabinet because you bought it for like the one recipe. Guess what? With HelloFresh, you don't have any of those issues because it's pre-portioned. It's affordable, and you basically, like, every meal you cook, you just use every single thing in that meal kit.
Right.
And you're done with it. Nothing goes bad. Your fridge isn't, like, stuffed with a bunch of random stuff that you don't know when you bought it from. You don't
Stinky fridge is the worst.
Oh,
don't get that.
I don't like that.
No.
Or a disorganized fridge. No.
Oh, no.
Can't do that.
And it's also a fact that meals that you cook at home are going to be more healthy than something you get from a restaurant. You eat the food from a restaurant, but what's actually in that food, you don't know.
You don't know.
And they're putting all sorts of stuff to make it taste, restaurant level, but that stuff is usually super bad for you.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the best of both worlds because, HelloFresh is giving you everything that you need.
Yeah.
They know how to season it to make it taste really good.
And you know exactly what's going into it.
But it's not all that hidden stuff that you're going to get in a restaurant that's going to make you regret it later. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for free breakfast for life, what?
Wow.
Go to HelloFresh.com/free Kit&Krysta. One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/free Kit&Krysta. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Yum. We'll put the link right here and also in the description below.
All right, let's get into our news. So, one of the great perks of being a longtime former Nintendo employee, that's what we are, we're former Nintendo employees, is you follow a lot of people on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we see things that catch our eye of the things that are happening with those people or things around Nintendo. One of the things that caught my eye that I've not really seen anybody talk about, but I do think it's noteworthy news.
Pretty significant,
is that one Don James has retired from Nintendo, and Don James was the executive vice president of operations at Nintendo, but he was also one of the very first employees at Nintendo of America. I looked it up. Started August 10th, 1981.
Oh my goodness.
So I think for the majority of people consuming this podcast, he had been working at the company before you were even born.
Before you even thought in your mom and dad's head.
Can you believe that?
Don James was working at Nintendo.
Right. And I love the symmetry of it. He started August 10th, 81, retired August 10th, 24. That's how I did it.
That's how you did it.
That's how I did it too.
Nice. I mean, it wasn't
starting and ending on the same day.
It wasn't like 40 plus years for you, but the start and end on the same day is amazing. Wow. Good for Don. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Don had been there well before you and I worked at Nintendo and was there after you and I were working at Nintendo. So we have known Don for like the entire Nintendo tenure. Right. So we know Don pretty well.
I mean, he's not just a guy though that worked for Nintendo for a long time. Like he was involved in some really amazing things, and did some put out some incredible work that maybe is a bit
like underrated,
underappreciated, and underrated amongst people. So we want to just kind of go through everything that he's done through the years. So. In the role that he had by the time he ended, so he was in charge of operations, product testing, facilities, IT, And then trade shows, which eventually moved under marketing. So he eventually did give that up. But that's like a really important like chunk of what the company was doing. Like that operations side of thing, that's like the logistics of like, well, how do we ship this product out to the whatever, and how does it get manufactured? And I remember like in the pandemic when everything was shutting down, like it was like really interesting to hear him talk about this, because it's like, well, this factory closed, so now we're getting it from here, and this port is closed, so we're going to this other port. And it's like, what a complicated job this is. I'm glad I don't do this.
And also, the interesting thing about Nintendo is that they do have their own warehouse in North Bend, which is also in Washington State, and they have another like sort of another operations facility. So it's like the headquarters in Redmond, the shipping facility in North Bend, and there's another sort of like operations facility in the Redmond area as well, in Kirkland.
Yes.
And Don runs like all of that. So things are happening like in the US, not just like overseas or whatever. And it was getting kind of real during the pandemic. Like they were like trying to do stuff while they were working from home. They'd come in shifts, remember that? To like package the games.
Yeah.
And it is actually really interesting because when you first start at Nintendo, they make you go over there to go see what they do and like try.
Do they still do that?
I did it.
That was like a required part of like your first
onboarding.
Time of like you're going to go to Redmond, you're going to spend a couple days learning the company, and that would include like a field trip to the factory to see how the stuff got made,
package
which was awesome,
which was so cool.
It was really cool.
To see like what they did and see how things actually like get out to stores. Like you would like have to shrink wrap like a physical game box and like put it into the package. It's really interesting. But yeah, Don ran like all of that stuff. So important stuff of getting physical product out to retailers and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The trade shows thing, we're going to come back to that. But again, being one of the first hires starting in 1981, it's like, well, gosh, what was Nintendo even doing in 1981? That was around the time that Donkey Kong was coming out. And his early days are pretty well documented in a couple of different books. He's talked about in Game Over, which is that book that came out, I think, in the 90s, which was one of the first big, like, let's take a look into Nintendo. And then more recently, that book that we read, Game Master Classified, which is the Howard Phillips book. He talks a lot about Don, and he's, Don was kind of one of the last of those very first hires to leave Nintendo. So those include also Lance Barr, who's his good friend, who was the designer of the NES and the SNES. A true legend.
And he was working there when we were there as well, Lance Barr, and
he's in one of
headed up the design.
He's in one of these pictures that we have.
He's in one of these pictures.
You can see, like, he's off to the side, so, they've been having all sorts of, like, retirement parties, it seems, for him.
Yeah, their tradition is, the reason why it's called the Kart Crew is because they play Mario Kart every single day.
He's a Mario Kart fiend, as we understand it.
They play it every single day. Like, everybody has to drop everything at, like, 3:45 or something like that. And they play Mario Kart together. It's so cute.
So Lance Barr, Howard Phillips, obviously, who wrote that book. He was kind of the face of Nintendo for many years. Very involved in Nintendo Power. There was Howard and Nestor, the comic. He left relatively earlier than everybody else. Then also, like, Gail Tilden is another person who was, like, super early of those days. And she was
in some of those Netflix documentaries.
Right, and she was heading up Nintendo Power at the time. So, all those people, went their different ways or they've retired. But yeah, Don was kind of the longest lasting. So I don't actually know now who is the longest tenured person at NOA. That would be a good bit of trivia, because they do have like the plaques all around the office. Of like,
is it? No, it can't be the person that was on our team, right? No. That person was there for a long time.
I bet it's somebody that we don't even know, who's been, in a less like public facing job, who's just been, grinding it out for decades and decades.
It's true though, because there's so many like long tenured people there at Nintendo that just stay for so long. Like 10 years, we were 11 and 13 years. We were like still considered pretty baby level.
Oh yeah.
And you got Don and Lance, who were there, 40, 30 plus years. It's so great. Like your whole life
Right.
is at this one place. It's really crazy.
So, a really notable thing that he did was he was basically Nintendo's representative with the ESA once that got going. So all of those big initiatives, like he really had a role in creating, including E3.
Yes.
Helped to create E3 and also the ESRB.
Right.
He was among those small number of people, representatives from the big companies who were saying like, well, okay, we're going to make this thing E3. What do we need it to be? We need to make the ESRB so the government can stop breathing down our necks.
Yeah.
How do we do this? So he had his fingerprints all over that stuff. And E3 was really the one that was like his baby. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to his role with trade shows, like he oversaw all of those incredible Nintendo booths.
Yeah.
Up until the very end when E3 went away, which I imagine he had some very mixed feelings about.
Yeah.
Because it was something that he loved. And those Nintendo booths were amazing and they just got better and better.
They were incredible.
Like think about the all Breath of the Wild booth that had so much atmosphere.
The Luigi's Mansion one.
The Luigi's Mansion one, the Mario Odyssey one. It was one of those things where they actually got better and better.
Over time,
over time. At a point where some of the booths surrounding us were feeling a little lackluster. Mm-hmm. It was really cool that Nintendo was investing no, the booth experience is really important and we want to sweep people away on these journeys to these game worlds.
Incredible
and that
stuff.
was absolutely his doing. And he had so many connections. He's like, I know a guy who's going to make this prop and do this. It's like you were on another level.
Yeah, he's just been in the industry for so long doing this job.
And he had also achieved this rarefied level of trust with Japan.
Yeah, that was the main thing.
Where all of us were just explaining until we're blue in the face of here's what we're gonna do, here we're gonna do, why. He just had carte blanche. He's he's just gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
And nobody else had that.
This is what happens. This is what comes with tenure.
Yeah.
When you become a tenured professor somewhere,
totally.
They can't fire you. And guess what? Don was a Nintendo tenured professor.
Right.
The thing about Don too is that he was just a fun person.
He really was.
And a interesting person to be around. We have another story where I got to work with Don really closely on a project for Mario Kart, his favorite game ever. That involved some really interesting stuff that we'll tell in another podcast. But I got to know Don a little bit better. We had some we had to do go on a trip together basically, and I got to know him a little bit better. And he's just a fun-loving person.
Right.
He just he's not taking things super seriously. He's not getting overly stressed out about whatever. He had this sort of calming aspect about him where he was just whatever, you just do it, and if you get in trouble, we'll figure it out, it's gonna be fine, and I think that was what made him so good at his job, especially with Japan, because you're just whatever, come yell at me for a day.
It's funny because his catchphrase was, we're doomed. But it was always done in kind of a tongue-in-cheek way when people around him were actually freaking out and we're probably thinking oh, this is the end.
This is the end.
For him to verbalize that, well, clearly we're doomed. We're just doomed.
He was very deadpan about it. Yeah, but he just kind of had
the
that
origin
attitude.
of Nintendoomed.
Yeah,
right
Nintendoomed is Dawn. Yeah, but we would always it was some good levity.
Yeah,
when you are in it, you're oh no, I'm really spiraling now. Uh-oh. Things are going way bad, and he comes in and does his Dom thing. You're
that said, he did have to do the bad cop routine before E3. It was you mess around and you lose a game at E3, you're fired.
He did.
No questions asked, you'll be fired.
We should talk more about the pre-E3 routine, because there were some scare tactics that not only Dom, but Reggie was a part of too, that would just scare the daylights out of you.
Speaking of Reggie's in the background of one of these photos.
I know, right?
I love it
He's
here.
Looking so handsome
and then
and
this
cute.
is Perrin, who
Perrin
was
Kaplan,
the kind of the old head of our team, who you had a bit of overlap.
Yeah, Perrin was my first boss at Nintendo, really.
Right.
She was the one that hired me. Yeah, Perrin and I,
and then we got him on the golf course. This is the Nintendo golf tournament, the potentially problematic Nintendo golf tournament.
I love this for John. Look at the Mario hat. Look at the medal.
Got a gold medal? Wow.
Look at this trophy.
The mustache? Look at that. He didn't have that when we were there.
He looks kind of like Mario's dad in this photo, which maybe he is, honestly. Wow, this is some some like next level stuff. But yeah, this golf tournament, I did snoop on this person's Instagram, and I looked at the photos of the other people at the golf tournament. Still a little problematic.
I never got invited to this, believe it or not, this golf tournament.
I really don't believe that, actually.
I didn't. No, believe it.
The problem is that this golf tournament was like all white men. So.
And it was like you had to get an invite to participate in it. Right.
Yeah. It was all white men, and there was like somebody, there was a woman at Nintendo who was actually kind of high up. Like she was like at least senior director level, I think, right? Maybe she was a VP. I don't even remember. But she like asked, so can I get an invite? And they were like, no.
But yeah, there were people from our office who would go. I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, it's the NOA golf tournament. I was like, this is real? Like, oh yeah, totally sanctioned, totally legit. Like, what? And yeah, they never asked me. And yeah, I'm terrible at golf. I played golf once and embarrassed myself, so it's for the best. But yes.
But I was like, oh, nervous laugh. Like this
questionable stuff happening at this golf
questionable
tournament.
Stuff. But anyways,
yes.
We love this. Love this for Don. Love this for Don.
But he has, I mean, again, you worked there for 40 years. He has so many incredible stories. And like he did get a chance to get out there. Like there was a Treehouse Live when they were talking about, I think, like the Arcade Archives version of Donkey Kong, where they had him come on and talk about like, well, here's how we were adapting these radar scope machines to run Donkey Kong.
So cool.
And like normally like they clamp down on all these opportunities, but for him, like if there was the right thing, like they would let him get out and talk about the old days.
Right.
We did, when we were doing kind of the early test episodes of Nintendo Power Podcast, we did do an interview with him that was absolutely incredible, of just talking about, you know, the good old days. And it was so many details that were so interesting that I certainly didn't know of before. That never saw the light of day.
Oh.
The powers that be took a listen to that and said, oh, no.
Absolutely not.
It's not like there was anything bad, but I think it was just like, this is the wrong thing to focus on, even though it was deeply fascinating. I think I still have that somewhere. I'm going to sit on that for as long as I can.
Bring him onto the podcast.
Maybe he's down for it now.
He might be down
Maybe
for it.
Maybe he is.
You never know.
You never know.
Don, can you call us? I'll call you. Actually, I'll call you. I'll call you.
So, yeah, that's just kind of the end of an era. And, we want to say congratulations, Don, on an incredible
career.
We don't know who's taking over this role, this very important role.
We were just, like, racking our brains because we were like, who's going to do all of this stuff?
There was no, like, clear heir apparent in our eyes, at least.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, usually Nintendo's pretty, like, especially at NOA, well, also at NCL, they're very clear about, like, who's next in the succession line. Like, I don't know if I know who's next for...
It would have been you if I got hit by a bus. That would have been you. Becoming the new me.
I would definitely become the new you, but you would have become the new our boss.
Oh, really?
She said.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a succession plan.
There we go. The hit by a bus plan. You got to have it.
Yeah. Plane crash.
What about these days? What if I get hit by a bus now? What are we going to do?
I'll take over.
Okay.
What if I get hit by a bus?
Solo
you
show.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
I'm just going to
shut it right down.
Retreat into the woods.
Exactly.
Yeah,
good answer.
Good answer.
Shut it down.
All right. Moving on. This report about Nintendo perhaps informing developers that the Switch 2, don't expect it before April 2025. That's that fiscal year business. I'll just read the quote because this came out of GameIndustry.biz. No developer I have spoken to expects it to be launching this financial year. It's a fiscal year, excuse me. In fact, they've been told not to expect it in the current financial year. A bunch of people I've spoken to hope it's out in April or May's time, still early next year, not late.
Okay.
What do you make of this? This was kind of a 3-alarm fire in our Discord of some people saying like, oh my gosh, I'd really been kind of,
hoping
holding
it was
on to hope
be,
that this thing would be out earlier than later. And it's, it's kind of a bummer that, we're going to have to wait longer to play these games. And, how are they going to fill the time, etc.
etc.
Were you disappointed when this news broke?
I was sort of like non-committal on the date to begin with. Like I thought there could be some semblance of a chance that they have it come out at a similar timing to Switch, which was early March.
That was something that some people were holding on to. Like the blueprint for this is there.
Yes.
Announce, later this year. You can do a quick turn. We've seen you can do a real quick turn and get it out in the same time frame in March.
Thing in January.
We know that works.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what got people tied in a little bit of a knot, because we already had this sort of pattern of something that has happened and something that works and something that people generally liked. So hearing something like this may just have upended, that pattern. I don't think it's necessarily like a dire situation, but, we have been talking about, like, you do need to pull the trigger on at least announcing some details, like getting people to start to move their mindset over to the new thing.
Sure.
And yeah, like there is probably going to be some more announcements before the year is over about what's coming out at the first part of 2025, like games and stuff. Like there's probably a September Direct that's going to go over that stuff. So we don't know what that is yet. We really don't. So I think it's too early to panic because we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm okay. At this point, it's like, fine, just do it right. Don't mess it up. But I can see people getting a little bit antsy for this.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of over whatever concern I may have had. I mean, it's clear that they've got enough games up their sleeve that, whenever this thing comes out, they can stretch those out. Mm-hmm. And again, it won't be like, the incredible days of 20, whatever.
Yeah.
But they'll be okay. I've seen also people saying like, oh, nobody's ever really had a big console launch in the summer. Do you think that's going to work? Like, I'm not worried. Like, I think
that's fine.
They can launch a console whenever they want.
Yeah.
This thing's going to be so big, and clearly they're doing this for a reason. They're
Right.
getting all their ducks lined up.
The reason is very clear to me.
As big as it can be.
The reason is the games are not ready,
right.
And they need all the time they can get to bank an incredible launch year.
Yeah, clearly they
know.
They have, these are the criteria we need. These are the things we need to have a huge launch. So
yes.
They are going to get those to the point they need them to be before they actually do this thing. And I'm sure that bar is super high. So whenever you launch it, it's going to be a big deal.
Right.
So I wouldn't be worried about it coming out in the summer or some other kind of unusual time. And we've talked before about like how actually that can be good because you can have like a big bump right away.
Figured out too.
Get that first push out. Build up more stock for the holidays, have a big holiday, and then you're really
off to the races.
Then you're really on your way.
Yeah, we were there learning those really tough lessons with Nintendo through the Wii U days and through the Switch days, even the 3DS days. We learned those tough lessons about what it is, what is on that checklist of things you need to have ready to go when you launch a console, and it is like the same checklist every time. You know what I mean? Like there's no. It's like that thing where someone's like, well, how do I like lose weight? It's like, well, the checklist is exercise and eat well. Like there's no secret sauce. It's literally like get the games ready, like get your stock stuff situation figured out, like get your like marketing ready. Like it's like boring, but it's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I totally think that they've learned that lesson the hard way where they didn't have the stuff ready and it was bad.
And they, of all companies, will not feel any sort of outside pressure. So all these people saying like, oh my God, you got to release this thing right now. Like, they don't care.
They don't care.
They're like, no, we know what we need to do to make this a hit, and we're going to do it. And, we have measures to help maintain a certain level of momentum. Again, it's not going to be peak momentum, but it'll be enough.
Yeah.
Until then. So I've kind of gotten over the point of any sort of hand-wringing over this. Mm-hmm. Like a wait is a wait, and sometimes you don't want to wait, but good chance to revisit the old backlog. Until then.
So many games in the backlog. Also, if it comes out in May, can it come out on May 18th, which is my birthday?
Oh, that'll be nice
for you. Can you get it for
you.
me for my birthday?
That'll be nice for you. Oh, I'm sorry. We've agreed that we're moving beyond lavish birthday presents.
You better be waiting in line at San Francisco.
Please enjoy this $10 Chipotle gift card instead. Thank you. We got some news on our old ya boy Emio.
Oh, ya boy.
Yes.
The Smiling Man?
There is a demo coming for the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club, and they're doing it in kind of an interesting way.
It's like episodic.
That I'm kind of excited for. So the demo is going to release on August 19th. So that means it's out. It's already out now.
Yeah.
And that will include an initial chapter, and then there are additional chapters coming on the 22nd and the 27th. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like play a little bit, wait, get a little bit more, wait, get the last little chunk, and then everything that you do in that demo will carry over to the full game when that's out on the 29th.
I like this.
I love this.
This is a good idea for this type of game where it is very like visual novel.
Right.
And you're sort of getting this episodic experience of like, it's like watching, a TV show where it ends on a cliffhanger.
Exactly.
And then you're like, I can't wait to go back next week to see what happens. It builds up a little bit of suspense. I kind of love this. And of course, having it all carry over is very important. And yeah, it makes me really making me really excited for this game.
I agree. I think it's really fun the way that they're doing it, and clearly they're being experimental with this, which I think is fun as well.
Yeah, and they've been experimental with this from the beginning, with like the teaser and stuff.
Right, and I think some things have worked better than others. I think this will work really well for them. I did start to ask myself, like, gosh, how would it work? Like, is there ever any scenario where they could do a whole game like this, where every day the new chapter gets unlocked? So if you're one of those people who wants to, really experience it moment by moment. Could that build more anticipation? Could that build more conversation and word of mouth about the game of like, oh my gosh, they ended on this crazy cliffhanger. We're all hanging on by a thread until 6 o'clock when this new thing comes out.
It's like when you watch Game of Thrones and everybody, like after the episode ends, does like a crazy reaction podcast.
That's been such a debate in like the world of TV now, of like the Netflix model where there's just dump everything,
right? Versus the HBO prestige TV model.
Does that work versus drip feeding it? And I don't think anybody knows scientifically like whether one is better than other. But for this like completely story driven game,
I know, right?
Like this could be really cool.
This could be so cool.
And I know. I think I've heard people saying like, "Oh, Life is Strange did this, but it was too long of a wait."
Too long, yeah.
And
I was on board for like the first half.
But I'm thinking like if a chapter a day, so like if you are really invested in this
10 days
and
later,
you want to play through it, like you're not waiting that long. I don't know if being a game that they're releasing, like I'm sure people probably data mine it. It's probably more of a challenge than I'm thinking to completely keep that future stuff hidden. But it's a fun thought exercise.
It is. I think for something like this, it could work really well. And you kind of, there's this overall problem that I think a lot of new games, maybe all new games coming out need to solve for, even Nintendo games, is that the window of time that you have to get people's attention is shorter and shorter and shorter now.
Right.
Like before you would have like a couple months, like, after the game launches and people are still talking about it and playing it. But now it's like 2 days later, everyone's moved on to the next game.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we feel this as well, where, when a game comes out, all of in most cases, the media have done their thing because they got it early and they're done and they're moving on. And then there's this big rush to finish it. And no matter how big a game is, there's people who within like 24 to 48 hours are like, I finished it.
I'm done.
I'm done. And I'm done. There's like this rush. And then there's like, the rest of us who are experiencing it at kind of a slower pace. Mm-hmm. And, we're still playing this game a week later, 2 weeks later. And it's fine, but it's like you feel like you've missed out a little bit on that. Newsflash, not everybody can play a 40-hour game in 2 days. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And not everybody's getting the game early if you're not pressed.
Exactly.
So you kind of like that whole thing that we were experiencing with Breath of the Wild is like the latest, or Elden Ring is the latest example I can think about that this happened for.
The last example, yeah.
Right. Is like this kind of like playground conversation type of atmosphere where everybody was talking about it, everybody was experimenting. I mean, it is because of that genre of game as well, but that lasted a pretty long time and it kind of helped to sustain the people playing because they're like, oh, everyone's still playing. We're all still playing together. We're also trying to figure out how to defeat the fire giant. We're also trying to figure out how to, you know, do this crazy thing in Breath of the Wild. Like, okay, cool. We're all doing it together. And now it's like, no one's playing this game with me. Like, it's boring, you know?
Yeah, it is more fun when you're part of that conversation and everybody's kind of experiencing it in the same time. So, yeah, if I'm Nintendo, I'm paying really close attention to how people react to this demo. So let's see, it's like three days and 5 days gap in between.
Right.
Like what is the phenomenon of people playing through this?
Does it
build anticipation
up? Yeah.
for the next one? And you know, maybe it's something where for future narrative games they're taking some learning from this and applying it to something else. But I think it's really interesting, and
I'm jumping on board
excited to experience this demo like this.
I'm excited too. I'm a little scared, but I'm also excited.
Why?
Look at the scary face.
It's just a paper bag.
That's horrible. What's underneath that bag? It's going to be some
You're gonna find
really
out.
messed up stuff.
Tune into the next chapter in a couple days to find out.
I'm not going to make
It's going to be your face.
Oh, no, it's even worse.
You are Emio, I know.
Ah!
Next story. This was an interesting thing that happened.
I don't get this one.
So, Valve is working on this new game called Deadlock. And they have not officially announced this game.
Right.
But they are doing things for it that are not completely private either. And they're currently doing sort of a, I don't know if you call it a beta test or whatever, but they have this early development build that's out there that tens of thousands of people are playing. And The Verge just, straight up, they were participating as well. They just straight up wrote a pretty long story about it.
Yeah.
And people were saying well, aren't you under some sort of an NDA? Like, you can't talk about this. It's well known. People who have this, there's this opt-in, there's this pop-up that says early development build. Deadlock is still in early development with a lot of temporary art and experimental gameplay. Do not share anything about the game with anyone. And you have to click OK. Or do you? Below that it says, this message does pop up when I launch Deadlock, but I didn't click OK. Instead, I hit the escape key and watched it disappear.
Oh, because it didn't click. You didn't agree.
So
you didn't agree to it.
So you actually don't have to, quote, opt in to what they are saying to play the game. You saw it though.
Yeah, if it was mandatory for you to click it, I guess you're agreeing to something.
So this is all there is as far as playing this game. So there was this big debate of, does this constitute an NDA? Is this some sort of binding agreement that you are consenting to play this game? What is your take on what's happening?
This is not an NDA. An NDA is definitely not a
not
friendier.
Even a friendier?
Not even a friendier. An NDA is a legal binding agreement that you have to sign. You have to read and sign.
Right.
And so does the other party. And this journalist was not sent an NDA. This journalist was getting a pop-up that they could opt out of. So you're not bound to, you can do whatever you want. You can talk about this game however you want, right? Because there's no contract between you and Valve saying that you wouldn't talk about this.
It is interesting that, beyond this, there do seem to be, traces of this game just out there. You can track the Steam performance for this game, but there's, 23,000 concurrent players to this game.
Yeah.
And it does seem to be not a total secret that this game exists and that these people are doing this.
Right.
I think if you're Valve, Valve knows very well. I think they knew exactly what would happen with this.
Right.
I think if this was a case of something where they really did want and need to keep it a secret,
they would send them an NDA.
They would take stronger measures to keep it as such.
Exactly.
So I think this is the calculus that they made of like they said, it's not finished. So we would prefer that people not see this because they might come to the wrong conclusion about the quality because it's a work in progress.
Yeah, but also
we
don't really care.
If things come out here or there, we can live with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the little gray area that they're in, and we know that a lot of people struggle with gray areas.
They do.
So it's like either you've broken the law or you haven't.
There's a gray
But
area.
I think it's down the middle where it's like, yeah, we'd rather you not, but...
If you do, we're not going to like come after you.
Right.
They haven't come after him, right?
Valve understands the difference between an official NDA, which I'm sure they make a lot of people sign in their line of work, versus this little clicky box.
Yeah. But Valve hasn't come out and said like, take down your article.
I think this writer said that he did something like inviting some of his friends who did not have this. He did eventually get banned from this for doing something where he was overstepping a bit too far. I'm not playing in this, so I don't know. I'm only kind of reacting to this story that popped up this week. You know, some companies are more comfortable with this than others. Like Nintendo, for example, would never do something like this.
Ever do this. Never. You would sign an NDA.
I mean, it would be like everything under extreme lockdown.
Yeah.
Like,
you would basically sign your firstborn away.
Or maybe they just wouldn't tell anybody outside of the company until they're ready to formally announce it.
Yeah.
But Valve clearly has a different path and has different things that they need to do. This is a play test. Like they need to
do like stress the systems.
See real world people play this to balance it, stress the systems, get it ready. But they're less concerned with the airtight. Nobody knows before we announce this thing.
Exactly.
And listen, Valve knows what they're doing. They're extremely good.
Valve is
smart company.
Extremely good at not, getting into some legal gray area. They're like, they know what they're doing.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see the reactions around it and kind of the arguments on both sides of you can do this, you can't do this. But yeah, this is
business, people.
A gray area. Mind your business is your conclusion?
My conclusion is everyone needs to mind their own business.
Okay.
Okay? It's not your problem that this person wrote about a thing that he was invited to. Like,
all right.
Get over yourselves.
One more story in the news. It's around The Plucky Squire, which is a game that we were getting slightly concerned was going to enter into the meme zone.
I thought it was going to be delayed, but no!
Where Silk Song and other games
don't say that about
exist.
The beautiful Plucky Squire.
But no, they have announced a release date. Finally, thank you. It's coming out September 17th.
So awesome, but also scary.
Which is great news. That's about a month. I think maybe we both and many other people have the same reaction, which is, oh, cool, there's a release date, and then looking more closely at the date and saying, oh, no.
Yeah, there's a lot of games in September.
Because let me just rattle off some of the games that are coming out in and around September. It really starts August 30th, Star Wars Outlaws. September 6th, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. Astrobot, September 6th. Warhammer Space Marine 2, September 9th. Funko Fusion, September 13th. Why is that on this list?
You put it on.
Harry Potter, Quidditch, September 23rd. Epic Mickey Rebrush, September 24th. Earth Defense Force, September 26th. The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, September 26th. Oof. This is even an older list. Now there's Bakeru, which is a new game that just got announced. That's coming out, I think, around September 9th as well.
Woo.
So,
my.
Just a lot. There's really a lot of games.
Bunched up in September.
And this is not literally everything. There's way more games.
Right. This is
that I haven't even
big stuff,
put here.
Yeah.
So it is a real tough window for them to release this game.
Yeah. This game will stand out for sure because it is, very unique and it's been highly, highly, highly anticipated. But yeah, September is a tough window. There's just a lot of games coming out that you gotta compete against, So yeah, I'm dropping everything to play Plucky Squire. So for me, it's an easy decision, but many others might be making other calls.
I think the rationale was, I'm sure they were working on this intensely to get it done, and this has just happened to be when they finished. And I think the rationale is probably, well, September's bad, October's bad. November's bad. Like you really have to wait until December until you have some windows and some people don't like putting out games in December because you think you miss out on the big opportunities of the pre-holidays. So it's like, well, let's just try and carve whatever
we can out of it.
Let's make the best out of this and find that little window of time. And it's like, it's like Astrobot's big, Zelda's big, you're kind of wedged in between those. Yeah. So maybe
you got like a window, maybe like a week or so.
Maybe you do have a window there
to capture the attention. Yeah. They put out this like teaser-ish kind of tweet, after they announced the launch date,
Uh-huh.
where it was like a bunch of other dates on the page. It was like May 2025 and like whatever. So I'm wondering if this is also like some kind of episodic sort of situation. Is there like more content coming next year? Is this in some sort of chapter, something or another? Is there DLC?
Oh, I thought this was just like a fake out of like, here's the dates it could be, and like, oh no, it's September 17th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Our Patreon subscriber, Captain Alex, left a comment on a tweet that we made of, well, maybe they're trying to invoke some FOMO around Zelda, because it is a slightly related to Zelda kind of experience.
Is
saying,
it though?
let me just finish this, please, and you can react. Saying like, well, it is multi-platform, and maybe at that time, you know, if you only have a PlayStation and you want some sort of a Zelda experience, you're feeling bad that you can't play that, you can play this instead. That was the argument. I don't love
really
this. I don't love a
that.
strategy of
I don't think that's the strategy.
FOMO around another game being your entire launch strategy.
This game is so unique and so different. I think it stands on its own, but completely fine. I mean, it's going to be fine. It's busy during this time, but I don't feel like they need to do something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like this game is something that people have been looking forward to. Like, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I will make time to play this game because I'm so curious and interested in it. But I could understand other people saying I'm going to skip it because I'm still playing Star Wars Outlaws or Astro Bot, or I need to save money to buy Zelda. I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the very hard truths of launching a game.
Yeah.
In
anytime.
Q4.
Honestly. Q4 is really tough, but you're just gonna be, the competition is like nothing ever before. Like there is just competition all year round.
Yeah.
So it's really hard.
It's true.
To find that window to give your game the best chance. It is what it is now. It's the unfortunate reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But I will be dropping everything to play this game. So look forward to our reactions to it once it comes out.
Yeah. Going back to that story about the Switch 2 and the release window and like, you know, looking at the horizon and saying, well, maybe I do have a bit of time ahead to check some things off of my backlog.
Mm-hmm.
We did ask our community of, you know, was there a game this year with a slower Nintendo release schedule, especially earlier in the year, or maybe projecting ahead if it gets a little bit slow? Is there some game that you have earmarked to completely eradicate off of your backlog? We got some interesting responses.
Yeah.
Tugs Puppy Bear said, I've made an effort to actually look at all my backlog and finally just stop thinking of it as a nebulous pile of things to play.
Good idea.
I picked up an excellent app that can hook into my accounts, Xbox, PlayStation, etc., while also letting me wishlist games I hear of that are interesting.
That's cool.
This has helped me get a handle on what I've been wanting to play, and I've been able to start burning through my backlog for the first time. Woohoo! Sonic Frontiers, Nobody Saves the World, and a few others have finally been checked off.
What's the
But what is
app?
the name of the service?
Tell us what the app is.
Please leave a comment and tell us.
Yeah, I want the app.
Useful.
Yes.
Tuskoop says, I've completed many this year, over 40 games thus far. What?
Oh my gosh.
But the one I've been most excited to reach
crazy.
and finally start playing is Xenosaga. As a fan of Xenoblade, I've always been intrigued by it. Its differing sci-fi aesthetic and heavier drama emphasis. It's very fascinating going through a series and story that's somewhat more obscure nowadays and not receiving content, but very much was popular at one point. Plus, with it being made canon to Xenoblade recently, I've been more curious than ever to try it.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
That's a series that was just wrapping up when I was starting at Namco, so I just missed that one.
It, huh?
Yeah. And then finally, Gartooth says, I've been reconnecting with PlayStation this year.
Oh.
I pretty much stopped playing games on my PS4 around 3 years ago, telling myself I would catch up on everything I missed when I eventually got a PS5 because the games would play better there. Well, this is the year I did exactly that, so I've been checking out a lot of the highlights I've missed, like Elden Ring and Spider-Man 2.
That's awesome.
I also own some PS4 games I never got that far into, and I'm going back to finally finish this time, like Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, you got some great games on your list.
Yeah.
Like really good cinematic games to play.
There's no shortage of games. If anybody needed a reminder, there are no shortage of games.
There are no shortage of
there.
games.
Yes, my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
We have prepared a very fun Never a Minute segment
Turning my computer over.
that we're going to get to in just a moment. But first, we have another sponsor to shout out.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Woohoo!
And I'm here to express some outrage.
Oh, no.
Did you know that Netflix hides thousands of shows and movies from you based on your location?
Yes,
And
I
they
did.
have the nerve to keep raising their prices?
How dare you?
Can you believe that? You could just cancel your subscription in protest, or you could be smart about it and stick it to them and make sure you get your money's worth by using ExpressVPN, just like I do.
Yes.
Let me tell you a story.
Oh, a story.
When I went on my vacation to Korea, we were in the heart of Game of Thrones,
Oh, yeah.
House of the Dragon.
Yes.
And I said, here we go. I've landed. I'm going to catch up with this episode.
Went to HBO
Went
and it says...
to the HBO. This content is not available in your region. And I nearly threw the iPad across the hotel room. But Fred and I remembered, wait a minute, ExpressVPN.
Yes.
And
You
it's
change your location.
so easy to use. I had that app, just where do you want to be coming from?
Yeah,
Click, reconnects, done, and I was watching it.
exactly.
Perfect.
You could have been spoiled because you were somewhere else that
It's
you
true.
could not get onto
Right.
HBO. You could have gone on Twitter and been immediately spoiled.
My gosh.
How would that make you feel awful?
Right.
So yes, it is so nice. And it works the other way. If you're
Exactly.
in the US and you want to gain access to things in Asia, like I need the K-drama, okay?
Right.
I always, use ExpressVPN to unblock that content, and you like double, maybe even triple what you get out of your
Right.
streaming
So,
service.
so every location
nice.
has different content available to it, and with ExpressVPN, you can change your location
Yeah.
to over 100 different countries.
Yes.
So again, literally any country that you might want to see what is available. And this works with, we mentioned Netflix, but all these services do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Disney Plus, BBC, HBO, all of them.
Yeah.
So you can totally unlock all this hidden value from these services that you never had
So
before by using ExpressVPN. And like I said, it's super easy to use. You just get the app, change locations, literally one click, and you're in. It's like, phones, laptops, whatever
Even
device.
your smart TVs.
That's perfect.
So if you want to watch
as well.
it like on a normal TV, like have a normal viewing experience, you can do that, which is
Right,
nice.
and maybe you're wondering like, oh, God, just running through all these different things, does this slow it down? I was like, no,
No,
it was completely flawless.
Yeah.
I never even noticed it at all. So yeah, like House of the Dragon was my example. Like you've used it so many times. Like we have totally become to rely
I know.
on this
I need
service,
this thing
ExpressVPN.
like so much, and we travel. So like when
Yeah.
we go to Japan, we're going to be using this to do other stuff. So it's great.
Be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting access to a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/Kit&Krysta. Don't forget to use our link at expressvpn.com/Kit&Krysta to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free.
Whoa. Think about how much K-drama you can watch in 3 months. It's a lot.
That's right.
Link is here and in the description below.
All right, this Never a Minute segment's fun.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I gotta get ready.
This past weekend was the Pokemon World Championships. Is that the name of it?
Pokemon World Championship.
Yes. In Hawaii, no less. They love
It
to
was
do
in Hawaii.
They do like to do it in Hawaii,
Wonderful.
which is nice.
Yeah, wonderful.
So we're going to have a little competition in Pokemon of ourselves. A little bit different, though. We're going to do a spelling bee.
I'm so scared. I'm a terrible speller, and I don't know if I know my Pokemon that well, honestly.
I mean, I don't know if being a bad speller does or doesn't correlate to spelling Pokemon. But we're going to find out. So we have each chosen 5 Pokemon for the other person to attempt to spell. Yes. We have tried to have them start easier and
go hard.
Get harder.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with this. And I'm gonna go ahead and keep score as well as we go. So,
okay.
Do you want to go first or what?
I will spell first, so you can show me.
You will spell first. Okay. So I'm going to show you this image.
Okay.
And I will say the name.
Okay.
And you will try to spell it.
I think I'm going to be okay.
You know who this is, don't you?
This is Victini.
Victini. You invoked Victini go way back.
Me and Victini.
Get Victini for the Pokemon Black and Pokemon White video games.
It's my Pokemon homie. Okay, here we go.
This is easy.
I.
That is correct. You have spelled Victini. What is this move where you're writing it on the table?
I need to write. Okay, have you guys ever watched like spelling bee competitions where they write on their hand?
No.
Yeah, that helps.
Really, they do that?
Yeah, I was like thinking like, can I get a piece of paper or something, because I feel like I need to have like written down to see if it looks right to me.
Okay.
Anyways, Victini.
Yes.
Can I ask for you to use it in a sentence?
No.
Oh. Victini is a Pokemon that annoys you. Okay, here we go. Are you ready for your first one?
Yes.
You know who this is,
right?
right?
Gyarados.
Gyarados.
All right.
All right, spell Gyarados.
Gyrados. No? What is it?
Gya.
Oh, Gyarados. Oh.
Gyarados.
See, this is what I mean.
I know.
Some of these are unintuitive.
They're very unintuitive. I agree with you. That was an easy one. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's going to get worse from here. Okay.
All right.
Look at that. You're off to a lead now. Don't blow it.
I'm scared. Okay,
Next. We have... I need to double check the name.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think you're going to get this right. This is Amoongus.
Okay.
Clearly it's a mushroom.
Yes.
Amoongus.
Amoongus.
Oh, so close. There's two S's at the end.
There's a lot of these two S, two I's.
This is what I mean.
Nonsense.
This is what I mean.
You little... Mad at you. Mad at you, Amoongus. I don't like you. You're sus.
Amogus?
You are sus.
Okay. I'm ready to get back on the...
Back on track. This is one of your favorite Pokemon. Okay. Ampharos.
Ampharos, yes.
Ampharos. Or is it Ampharos? I don't know.
Ampharos.
Say it again?
What? Ampharos.
Correct.
Don't make I'm not doing that again.
Oh, you can't do it again?
One time, you need to pay attention.
You spelled it so quickly. I was like, what? Okay.
All right. That's one for me. We're tied. Now for you.
But Amoongus, though.
We have...
Oh, no.
So this one, I'm a little... The pronunciation, it's either Rayquaza or Rayquaza.
Yeah, Rayquaza.
Big name, cool looking Pokemon. What do you think?
Rayqueza. Rayquaza.
It's Quaza. I actually think my double pronunciation, Rayquaza. There would not be an E there.
I thought it was Rayquaza.
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza? Whatever.
Boy, somebody at the Pokemon company is having an eye twitch right now at this.
I don't know. They never asked
We would get drilled on these pronunciations, all this stuff, all these details. What is this?
This is Licky. Spell Licky.
Ooh.
How many L's? How many I's? How many Y's? How many L's?
When it's related to licky tongue, which I'm pretty sure is spelled L-I-C-K, not some funny way. Licky.
Licky.
I'm just going to go out on a limb. L-I-C-K-I.
Nope.
Licky, yeah. It wouldn't be that easy.
It's not that easy.
Let's see.
It's L-I-C-K-I, L-I-C-K-Y.
Come on.
Come on, Pokemon Company. Also, this is an abomination of a Pokemon. This is disgusting. This cannot be for
like it's having
It's not for kids.
Some sort of an allergic reaction. Tongue got stung by a bee or something.
Something else is going on with this. I'm going to move right past this. This is disgusting.
All right, so we're both crashing and burning.
It's terrible.
As predicted. We have this one here.
Decidueye.
This is a tricky one. This is Decidueye.
Yeah.
And I think I always just felt the spelling of this is a little tough. So what you got here?
Decieye.
It's completely wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh, God!
What was it? The D? What did the U? D-E-U? Where did you come up with that?
Decidueye.
No.
What is it?
D-E-C-I-D-U-E-Y-E. It's tough. It's very tough, but I don't know how you came up with that U. I figured you would have messed it up in a more traditional way. Okay.
Oh my God.
So
Wait, tell me again how it's spelled.
DECIDUEYE. It's tricky. No doubt about it.
I did have a U in mine.
Yeah, you did DEU, is what you said. Your memory needs to kick in. So I have one more left. How many do you have left?
I have two more left.
Okay.
Because I went first.
Because we're both deadlocked with a single point.
You're not going to get this one.
No. Remind me of the name of this. Remind me, please.
Okay, let me look at. Okay, are you looking at it? Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna look. Okay, it's Kofagrigus.
Are you sure that's the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Is it Kofagrigus?
No, I don't know. Maybe. Good luck. It's horrible.
Kofagrius.
Nope.
I think I'm blaming you for this one.
No, it's spelled like this. It's
Kofagrigus. Your pronunciation. You should be docked a point for that.
No, I shouldn't be. You got it wrong.
I would have gotten this right.
No, you wouldn't.
I would have. You did not say that.
Rayquaza.
We gotta figure out a better way to do this next time. Because you're messing me up. All right, last one for you. Is this.
Oh, no.
This is a new Pokemon. I bet you don't even know what this is.
I don't know what this is. Some sort of
I need to double check the
ink
name.
and butter knife.
Okay. Do not. Poltergeist. Poltergeist.
Geist. Polchagist.
So close, but still wrong.
Dang it!
So this is like a matcha container. That's where the cha comes from. You see it's got the little matcha scoop right there?
Okay,
it's
matcha.
Poltergeist. You missed that T.
I hate it.
I was like poltergeist.
I get
would
it.
have a T.
I understand.
Poltergeist.
It's like a silent T.
Yes.
But I hate you.
Okay.
You're ugly.
We have no tiebreaker, so if we end up tying, then we end up tying. So be it.
Here we go.
Am I allowed to look?
Look at it. Look at it in the face. Look at it.
It's got that real Funko Pop dead eyes to it.
Look at this disgusting face.
Okay.
Its name is Shinotic.
Say that again, please.
Shinotic.
Shinotic.
Like hypnotic.
Oh. Now let me look at it again.
Why are you closing your eyes?
I'm trying to. Shinotic.
You're trying to imagine.
So it's a mushroom.
That's wearing a diaper.
I'm trying to think like what word could feed into that. Like what mushroom-related word could feed into that.
I see.
Shinotic.
Because that is what they do. That's how.
Right,
that's a good
right.
way to backwards engineer this. Good job. Good job.
SHINOTIC. Yeah.
Double I's. Double I.
SHIINOTIC.
Horrible, isn't it?
Silly.
Horrible,
It's
isn't
just silly.
Victini!
All right, we got one.
Victini. I can't believe you didn't know how to spell Gyarados.
Wow, 1-1. Gyarados. Oh, yeah,
Gyarados was pretty embarrassing for you.
Yeah, that's kind of bad.
That's pretty bad. I mean, I know how to spell Gyarados.
Gyarados. I think you've been pronouncing it wrong.
Gyarados.
Gyarados.
You say Gyarados, no?
Moving on.
Wow. This was very revealing. This is revealing. We are so bad at this.
Listen, this is why spell check exists, why reference material exists.
Therapy.net.
Exactly. All these things exist. Jeez. All right, games we're playing. We got a whopping games we're playing here. Wow, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things here.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow.
Bakaru, let's start with that. That's a game
played that
bust onto the scene out of nowhere. Was that last week or so?
Yes.
So this game is coming out in September. This game got a demo. This is incredible.
It's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Goemon,
right.
Your precious little Goemon.
And before we get into the game, I had a really incredible experience of, so this is published by Spike Chunsoft.
Yes.
And so is the next game that we're going to talk about. And I sent a shot-in-the-dark DM to their Twitter account, begging for codes. Because I don't have a contact at Spike Chunsoft, but I did really want to check out these games. And lo and behold, the person who responded was somebody who I've actually known since like the very start of my career.
What a small industry and world.
Used to work at Koei before they merged with Tecmo.
So funny.
And I had the great opportunity to reconnect with them and chit-chat with them, and I also got those codes. So what an incredible experience that was.
Now you have a contact at Spike Chunsoft,
and
apparently.
now we might see this person in Japan when we go, actually, because now they live in Japan. That would be great.
To see this person in Japan.
I would love
that
this
sounds
too.
lovely.
It's a wonderful, wonderful person.
What a crazy, this is what goes to show that the games industry is very small. But anyways.
Bakeru
though.
Yes, so this is developed by Good Feel, who Nintendo fans know very well.
Yeah.
And yes, this is a spiritual successor to Goemon. The lead developer worked on a lot of the older Goemon games. They're not making Goemon games. Konami's not really doing much of anything these days, so it kind of felt like something that was lost to time. But I do have the full game for this, but the embargo, I can't really talk about anything beyond the demo.
Yeah,
so I'll keep it to that.
Demo.
But this is a delightful,
adorable
breath of fresh air. Really a kind of game that just does not get made anymore. Would feel right at home on like a PS2, or I think it would be a perfect game for the Wii, which I'll talk about why in a second. But it's just a pretty like straightforward kind of action adventure sort of game.
Yeah.
Where you play as Bakeru, who is a tanuki who can transform into all these different things. Mm-hmm. You know, you're normally playing in Bakeru's human form, who still looks a little raccoony.
So cute.
If you ask me.
A little chubby.
And you go across this sort of like very fantastical version of Japan.
Yeah.
Doing stuff. Your main you have like a drum is kind of your main tool in the game.
You're holding like two
drumsticks. It's more like it's not like
a taiko drumstick.
It's like a smaller version of a taiko drum.
Yeah, but it's only a single drum.
Right.
Yeah, it's like one.
So that's how you attack: is you hit people with these drumsticks, and you also have the drum itself, which you can use to like reflect. It's kind of like a shield.
Like a shield. Yeah.
So you can block things, or you can reflect projectiles back. But there's a lot of the levels are pretty big. It's not like open world free roaming though. Like there is like a path that you're on, but they're pretty big. So there's a lot of also like light platforming and running around and exploration. There's a lot of little collectibles to find. I think every level has like 3 little trinkets that you can find, and then is it always 5? I don't know if the number's always the same. These little like trivia
things,
guys.
yeah.
The trivia is funny though, because it's like not really trivia related to the game. It's just like normal trivia.
It's just whatever trivia.
Right.
It's like about a cat.
If you have a sore throat, consider gargling with green tea.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
I think it would work.
I'm gonna try it next time I get a sore throat. But yeah, the action is interesting because it uses the 2 triggers, the left and right triggers, to map to your left and right hands. And like you can do a pretty normal combo with just one hand, but if you do them alternating, you go into this kind of mode where you are like attacking faster and faster, and you start like tracking automatically the different enemies.
Yeah.
This is where my idea for the
Wii remote.
Waggle!
And the nunchuck.
Can you imagine the fun waggling?
You could get a workout, man. Get your arm weights on and just start going with Bakeru.
This would be a perfect waggle game. To be doing it, but
how fun, yeah.
Like this game is just like so colorful, has so much personality, has such like a vibrant spirit to it.
Yeah,
I just love it. I've really been very captivated by the Goemon games, and one of the things I super love about them is it's like this very like non-traditional take on like old Japan, where it definitely has a lot of traditional Japanese stuff in it, but they also will like, you know, there's also like some things from modern days that are in there.
Yeah, I like how this one has like vending machines in it.
Exactly.
But it looks like kind of like, you know, shrines, and you're in these like sort of ancient part.
But then you'll go into like a big like, you know, skyscraper type setting.
Exactly.
So like they're totally like mashing up old traditional Japan with like more modern day things, and I just love that view onto it. Like actually playing like the original. It's not the original, but the first game that was released in the U.S., Legend of the Mystical Ninja, like totally is one of the games that I attribute to like what gave me like a fascination with Japan of just like their depiction of it was so unique and so interesting. So yeah, this game was just, I had a big smile on my face playing the demo.
Yeah.
It's coming out really soon, and I think a lot of people had their eye on this as like, oh, I might need to import this game, or I'm gonna have to try and find a way to play it. So it's so cool that it's actually coming out localized properly.
Yeah, it's really great
in this country. But you played the demo too.
I did, yeah, and I really, really loved it. I agree that it's very vibrant and just fun, and what a great, just a great imaginative take on Japan. And it's a very lighthearted game. You know, it doesn't take itself like super, super seriously, and you're just kind of, you know, you're having fun like going through this world and exploring it. The gameplay is really well done as well. It's like really fun to use that drum mechanic. But yeah, I really, really liked it. I definitely want to check out the full game when it comes out. So
yes,
really good.
I'm going to try and play through this game in the next week or so. So more to come on this next week. Next game, like I said, it's also one from Spike Chunsoft, and another one that I had my eye on for a good while. It's called Natsuman 20th Century Summer Kid.
This is one of those games where you like to play as like the child in Japan on summer vacation.
And the thing that unifies those games is that they all have the same like lead developer.
Yeah.
Who's this guy, Kaz Ayabe, who I first came to know when I was working on Nintendo Direct, because we were introducing one of his games, Attack of the Friday Monsters.
Yes, that's a great game.
Which is a super great 3DS eShop game. Sadly, there's no way to get that anymore, but that's how I kind of got introduced to his style of game. And then, was it last year or the year before, the Shin-Chan game, which was also done by him, where, you know, Shin-Chan goes off on a vacation with his family to this little like rural Japanese town, and you're just kind of like cruising around doing like kid stuff, like collecting bugs and like, you know, coming up with these like imaginary stories and stuff like that. And this is, you could say like, this developer is a one-trick pony, but it's like, I really like the trick.
Yeah,
you know?
the trick is good.
So
I
like every
trick
time,
over and
like
over.
I am into this. I'm super into this.
It's a vibe, a late summer vibe.
But this is a cool evolution of that idea. The kind of conceit of it, though, is very similar to all the others. Like you're with your family, you go off into rural Japan, and you're just kind of hanging out there for the month.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a proper like open world that you can fully explore however you want.
That's cool.
And I've even seen some people go so far who have played more than I have say like this has a lot of Breath of the Wild influence to it. There's no combat at all, but everything else of like the way you run around, the way you explore, kind of the way the world's constructed feels like that. And I can kind of see it because you can actually climb like very much like Link.
Oh, cool.
You have that same stamina meter, so like sprinting, like it's like coming down. I can really see how that could have been a big influence to it. The little town that you're in is pretty big, so, and I'm still relatively early in it, but there's like, I've got all these like points of interest that I want to go see. Like there's like this lighthouse by the water, I wanted to go explore that. There was this big kind of like clock tower in the other direction, so I went to that. Up in like the mountains, there's like this like Japanese castle-y looking thing that I want to get to, but I don't know if I have the stamina to make it there yet. And the way like you get like more stamina is just by like doing stuff like collecting bugs. There's like, you know, all sorts of little quests. And then the game is broken into different days on a calendar. It's all in August, so I'm wondering like at the end of August does the game end?
Oh,
I don't
like summer's
I don't know.
over.
It's like we need to leave. So I don't know, but like at the end of each day, he kind of like writes in his journal, and it's like scrawled with like a crayon of like this thing happened, and then like you go to bed, and it's like a new day. So there is kind of like a time cycle, and like when it gets to your bedtime, like one of your family members like finds you, and it's like it's time to get ready for bed, and there's like a little cut scene where everybody's eating dinner, and then you can like walk around the little hotel and go to sleep. So
that's so cute.
It's very fun. Like
oh my gosh, adorable.
I'm just like totally like in the bag for this kind of game, and like clearly like this developer has some like this is like clearly an expression of his past that he is like putting into these games. I was gonna
say he must have done this with his family.
These super like cherished memories that I can kind of relate to. So
yeah, so cute.
Yeah, this is on Switch and PC, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, I just super happy for that developer and hope he can keep doing that one thing because I like it.
Do it.
Yeah.
And like relive your childhood and be like, it sounds like such a pure expression of something that was clearly a dear thing to him.
Yeah,
and I just love that it comes out in these like fantastic games.
Right.
I love it.
Cat Quest 3.
Yeah, we've both been playing more than, well, maybe you.
I've finished it.
You finished
Have
it.
you finished yet?
Almost.
Almost.
I'm at like the last dungeon, I think. What a delightful game this is.
Yes.
And at first I was like, I'll play Cat Quest kind of on the side.
What?
I'll like dabble
On the
with it a little
side?
bit and see how far I get, and maybe if I get sort of played enough or whatever, I'll move on to like another game or whatever.
Oh.
But no, I'm like so sucked into Cat Quest 3. And yeah, we both been like playing. We still have to try the co-op actually, so we'll do that at some point. But we both been playing this game, and yeah, it's I think we talked about a little bit how like at the beginning of it, it was a little bit hard for us to figure out like what is the main quest and like what do we have to do. But then towards like the middle of the game, like they do a better job of telling you this is what you need to do, like these are the sort of the quest elements you need. You also your character starts to feel a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And you really start to collect more items and weapons that just make it feel like you're more capable of defeating some of those like some of those enemies in the beginning when we ran into them. It was like, oh my god, it's so hard. There's no way I can beat them. Like what the heck? But now it's feeling really good. And yes, now it's very clear what the main quest is, and I feel like my little cat is very capable. I have some great weapons. My little ship is also like way upgraded now. I can do like the little on-sea battles and feel very capable at that as well. Like cool new cannons attached to mine, and like lots of different special weapons, and yeah, it feels really fun to explore as well. Which is I've been doing that a lot versus trying to complete the game because I've been like looking at all the little tiny islands and going to do the side quests and stuff like that.
Yeah, last week I think we were both talking about how like maybe the early stages of this game are a bit challenging because you can feel like you're under level depending on where you go. And that progress can feel a little bit slow, but I think, it's like the experience that you get feels almost like exponential the more the game goes on, where like once you hit a certain point, like you're powerful enough, and then you start getting more and more powerful.
Right.
And, you do get that cool feeling near the end where it's like, I could take anybody.
It's like
which
Samus.
Is very satisfying.
Yeah.
Outside of like those final bosses, which are a good challenge. So that is a bit curious, I would say, as far as like the progression of the game. But yeah, once I hit that point and kind of got on an equilibrium with where the game was, like I had such a great time. I think it's a good chance this shows up on my top 10
I think so.
of the year. Because yeah, just the sense of like freedom and exploration, and like again, like there's always something happening because the world is so compact but so dense.
Yeah.
Like you're always finding some new little dungeon.
The exploration is so good with that.
There's so much to do beyond just the main game.
Yeah.
And I got like a new game plus after finishing it. I'm like, maybe I'll dabble around in that. That's not something I usually do.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that I just missed. But yeah, you're always getting some sort of upgrade on your weapons or some new magic or something for your ship. It's just like really, really addictive.
The thing that they do that's really brilliant too is all the dungeons are very different. Like
you said you did a really cool
one.
The
side quest ones are so good. I did two that just really stands out to me. One is, it's called the 8-bit castle. And you go into this castle that looks like super, 8-bit pixels. And the whole art style changes into like an 8-bit world. And it's a play on Castlevania.
Right.
And the music is great, and you fight this like Dracula cat called Catcula. And it is so it's just a little little side experience, you just kind of run into it as you're exploring. And so imaginative and so like different than just like, oh, it's not just a dungeon, right?
Right.
The other one that I did that was really fun is you have to find these like love tomes, like these books. So you go into these caves and you find these books and you bring it back to this like ghost in this tower, and then you like go into the book
Oh.
And it becomes like a choose your own adventure.
Wow.
So it has like the story. It's like blah, blah, blah happens. Do you want to like fight this guy or like try to talk him out of it?
That's cool.
And so you go through the little doors to like an ultimate conclusion. And sometimes the conclusion is like, you gotta fight this boss. Sometimes the conclusion is like, you talked your way out of this. Here's a treasure. And you're trying to like free this person from this curse that they're under. So interesting and imaginative. All of these little side dungeons are so different. So I've been like very preoccupied dabbling around, but I think I'll be able to beat the game in the next like couple of play sessions. But
then back to Elden Ring?
Yes, back to Elden Ring. Oh my goodness, back to Elden Ring.
In the meantime, you've also been playing the new, or well, not the new, but the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon that came out on NSO.
Yeah, the GBA Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah, I'm so curious at what led you to this.
I was just like dabbling around because I was just in the GBA NSO because I was playing Link to the Past. And I was like, what are other games that are on here? And I was like, oh, that's right, this game came out recently. I remember they dropped that like last week or whatever. You know, the Mystery Dungeon games, I have like I do like them. I think they're interesting. I played some of them on the DS and the 3DS. I haven't thought about them in a long time, and I've been in such a malaise with Pokemon recently, just in general with like the mainline games. I'm like, I'll play this game. Why not?
Yeah.
Just check it out. Like a different Pokemon experience, you know? It's pretty fun actually. So in this game, the whole thing is like you are a Pokemon. And you take this like BuzzFeed quiz basically in the beginning that has nothing to do with Pokemon, and it like chooses a Pokemon for you to be. I got Bulbasaur for some reason. I don't know if that's like an insult to me.
Why?
But I don't know. It was like the
Bulbasaur.
the little description was like, you're a nice person, but you are also very gullible. Does that mean that I'm like stupid? And Bulbasaur is like dumb
That's not
or
what
something?
gullible means.
So anyhow, I got Bulbasaur, and I chose Charmander as my little like buddy. And I was figuring like, oh, we'll have like 2 different kinds of attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go and you just like explore these little like, you're like dungeon crawling around.
Yeah.
You like fight other Pokemon, you get cool treasure. You're like about to, you need to go like, their mission is to like rescue somebody in this cave. And in the beginning, so it's actually really fun. But the action is, it's not like turn-based. You just like just do it on the field.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like it. I'm gonna keep playing it a little bit, I think. But
Okay.
I'm glad I checked it out because I wanted a different kind of Pokemon experience.
That's great.
So.
Okay. Last thing I checked out just last night was the demo for Neo Harbor Rescue Squad, which is the game from our Patreon subscriber, Ben Rivers. And we saw a very early version of this demo before it got announced back at GDC. So that was like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's cool to revisit it because I could see where they've kind of made some additions and changes. And there was actually a lot more content in this demo. It was a pretty chunky demo. It's like about 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it had a number of different scenarios that we didn't get to play in that first demo. The thing that I really noticed was all of the background art was like really very beautiful. It's almost like painted backgrounds almost,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
the characters themselves have more of like a cartoony look. So it's like kind of a cool, foreground background kind of thing going on. But again, this game is very inspired by Trauma Center, and I think one of the things that like can kind of like hurt or help a game like this is like, what is the variety of things that you were doing? Like if it's just like, oh, there's 3 things to do and you just do them in different orders again and again, like that gets really boring. But they do like emphasize a lot in this demo of like, I think it's either like 3 or 4 dozen different activities for you to do.
Different ways to give someone a shot.
So that's good. I did do a few things. So again, like this game is you're kind of this group of paramedics, and you're going around this like cartoony version of Hong Kong, helping people out. And it's not as like serious as you might think. Like it's done in a very cartoony way. There's like this funny like rivalry that you have with like the fire department also, who like, it's like, oh, who's going to get to the thing first? And they're jerks. The fire department's jerks. Stuff like that. But I did do some things that also go beyond that. Like there was one where like one of your team members is a dolphin, and you have to like clean their little tank, dolphin tank that they
dolphin tank.
dolphin body. No,
I was like give it a little bath,
this
or
is not that kind of game. No, but you have to clean their tank. Or there was one where there were like groups of people who were like in these different rooms. So it's like I helped these people first, and then I had to like bash down a door with like this big axe. So there was like this other activity.
More variety than just doing doctor things.
Right. And a lot of it comes down to like, all right, there's 4 people who need help, like, and you can see all these like different meters of things that are like counting down. It's like, how am I prioritizing the order of this? Because it might be like, well, I'm going to do one thing on this person, then I'm going to go to this other person, then I'm going to go back to the original person.
That's what happens in a real trauma.
So that's like kind of a fun way of like managing all of that. So it's just super unique, super cool. It's coming out on PC and PS5. I think they said later this year. So
there you
very
go.
Cool.
Very cool. Yeah. I love that.
So those are the games we have been playing.
I'm still a little traumatized with the glass.
I gotta say, I messed that up again.
Oh my goodness!
This one again is like, oh no.
I'm never letting you near
That's
me.
like
if I get glass in me, you're
glass
staying away.
Glass removal is like the final boss of that game.
You stay away from me. I'll do my own
Pull
glass.
it up all the way and then put it into the little thing. Up all the way. That's what I've learned. We're going to get into some Q&A, which we get always from our Patreon subscribers. And we were talking about our spoiler cast earlier on. We have so many great things on our Patreon that you can only get by being a member.
Oh, yeah.
Bonus Q&As, behind the scenes, monthly meetups where we hang out with all of you and play some games. We got one of those coming up. So give us a look at patreon.com/Kit&Krysta.
Yes.
You could even be listening to this podcast before anybody else.
Early,
yes. First question is from Tuscoob, who's getting right down to business. Are you anticipating a September Direct, or is it possible they skip this year? Thank you for your thoughts.
I'm anticipating a September Direct.
As am I.
I think they are going to be announcing the stuff in the early part of 2025. Even more now, because now that the Switch 2 probably won't be coming out until after the fiscal.
Back onto the hamster wheel with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
Silk Song.
Tuscoob's very interested. Tuscoob's got a lot staked on this Fire Emblem game.
Oh, back to the Fire Emblem game. Yeah, we're going to have to re-predict.
I don't really want to take another cycle on those games, but yeah, I do think this is going to come. Again, like, I'm over any, like, fake concern that I may have had of like, oh no, Nintendo's going to fall off or they've got nothing left. It's like, no, they've got plenty. They've got this figured out, and they will dole it out in a way that will let them keep up their normal, patterns of doing things, like having directs, so people don't, think like, oh, there's nothing. Like, they don't want people to think that.
They're not gonna,
and they have stuff.
They're being careful to make sure that people do not think that. I think that's good. I think they do have stuff that they need to announce for the beginning, the first quarter or whatever of 2025. I hope that they do a good job balancing like ports or whatever and new stuff, but they did a good job in the last Direct giving us a ton of new games from major, major franchises.
Every time we've said, oh, this is it, they've got nothing left, they continue to surprise us. So I'm just off of that line of thinking. Like they've got something. It'll be cool. Yeah.
This is the one time where you think they're going to have something.
They have nothing.
They got nothing.
We're here to tell you, we're out of games.
Direct to you. I mean, not direct to you. No more games.
Next question is from Frulio. How do you think Nintendo is responding to Twitter's updated generative AI chatbot? For example, users can easily create images of Pikachu wielding a firearm or Mario participating in, quote, recreational activities.
What does that mean?
Those activities. This looks like Pal World to me. Pal World concept art? No, wait, this is Pikachu with a gun.
Oh my goodness. It's pretty cute.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this. So I guess the whole deal with Twitter's, what's it called? Grok?
Yeah, they can do the images now.
It has fewer restrictions than some of these other AI visual tools.
Great.
Which I've seen, so many riffs on things like this.
Yeah.
Of, let's deface these big brands and do things that they would never do.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, surely Nintendo's mad.
They're definitely mad, but I think they also realize that there's not much they can do about it.
Is there not?
What can they do about it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like...
I think they're looking into it.
They're definitely going to look into potential options, but honestly, I think the reality of the situation is that you really don't have that much control over something like this.
Well, This is a new technology,
Right.
and I don't know what laws are or are not set around this. I get the feeling that the laws and controls that we have for this in 5 or 10 years are going to be very different from what we have now.
Yeah.
So I think on one hand, they're probably doing a lot of research behind the scenes of like, how does this work? Because that's been a big topic is like, what is AI pulling from to create this stuff?
It's training off of some data.
Because if you are feeding it our official materials and this is what it's spitting out, maybe we don't like that. And maybe there's something that we can do to intervene against that.
The thing about like the IP used to train the AI is it's already a big topic. Like the New York Times already sued, I think, like ChatGPT or something over the usage of like pulling from their articles,
feeding their articles
to feed their machine learning algorithm or whatever. So there could be something there, but it's just going to take so long for them to. So and it's going to take a long time for the regulations to get put into place,
that'll take a long time. I don't think they want to be like
heavy-handed.
The first company to have like the first big AI lawsuit. I don't think they want that.
Yeah.
I think they would want there to be some sort of precedent. Because that would be bad if they make a big to-do out of this and then they lose.
That could happen because it's so new and so uncharted.
Yeah, because nobody knows. So you kind of don't know how the outcome would be. So I don't think they're going to jump the gun and be one of the first to do that. But I do think they're going to really, put their legal team to work of understanding like what exactly is happening here. And I think they also are, behind the scenes, getting in touch with Twitter, having those conversations with them because they are a business partner of Twitter. They do have some. They don't have a ton because Twitter going to do what they're going to do, especially these days. But they do have some leverage to say, like, we don't like this, we want you to stop, or, there's certain things that they could threaten to pull or withhold. I mean, Twitter had this ridiculous thing of, like, there was a conspiracy to stop advertising, and now we're going to sue them? Like,
oh, that was a very weird video. We both watched that. We're like,
completely
what?
off the rails, so they're operating in another realm of reality. But, this was definitely something that's going to keep happening.
This is going to keep happening
as AI keeps developing.
Yeah, and not, like just at Nintendo.
Yeah, it's something anybody who has a big IP needs to get on top of.
Or anybody with data that the AI they need to use to train. Like any sort of data is like not going to be. I don't think it's going to be like off the table, right?
Right.
So that's just going to be an ongoing conversation of like how this actually is going to play out. Oh yeah.
Baby Chris asks, we all love Super Mario 3D Land, but when the game came out, there was one organization that wasn't vibing to Mario. PETA!
Ugh, PETA.
I remember that the Tanuki suit was making its return, and PETA thought of Mario's fur-wearing ways were offensive. How did Nintendo of Japan respond? How did you guys respond to this news? If anyone doesn't remember, here is the article. And PETA kind of put out this like cartoon that was basically like Mario is
Mario
killing raccoons and wearing their pelts.
Yeah.
And PETA ethical. What does the P stand for? Ethical treatment of animals, people for? I don't know what the P stands for. But it's a good, it's a good cause. But they are
unhinged.
Very unhinged from reality.
They are very unhinged from reality. But it is a good cause. Like everybody wants the animals to be treated ethically.
Yes.
Obviously, we don't want any animal abuse because that is awful. But it's like they do things now, PETA, for media attention.
Right.
Not
shock value.
Shock value, and not to further their actual supposed cause of getting ethical treatment for animals.
Right.
So yes, when this article came out, it was a big deal at Nintendo. It like really was a pretty, serious situation that the crisis communications team was working really, really hard to craft responses to this. There was a lot of discussion at the highest levels of the company as to like, how can we, limit the backlash, if any, that happens from something like this. And I remember this PETA article that spurred all of that discussion. That like section of the crisis comm Q&A remained, and probably still remains to this day, in Nintendo's like overall
the PETA chapter
Q&A.
Yeah.
That giant binder of like all the questions that we ever got asked and what are the official company answers. Like this has carried that, you know, whatever year this happened in has carried over, and it probably will carry over for like the rest of Nintendo's history.
Right.
Because just in case you get asked again about PETA, you're going to need to know how
PETA
to
could come back at any moment.
Respond to it, right? Yeah.
But the general thinking was, you know, PETA is kind of this fringe group that's operating in their own reality, that they don't have a ton of credibility.
Right.
So like, let's not start a flame war with them, because they're going to use that to just inflame this and make it worse and worse. So basically it was like, I think we had, you know, a pretty straightforward response.
Yeah, we did.
But we were not like going out of our way to proactively get that out there. It was like, if anybody asks, we'll share this, but we kind of want this to come and go, because I think most people realize that like PETA's a bit wacky.
Yeah, that it was more for like shock value. Like, even, I mean, look at this image of this cartoon is clearly for shock value versus real news. But this was the origin of transformation.
Yes.
So
now
not
the suit.
The suits are gone.
Right.
Because if you're wearing a suit, you could imply that it is the pelt of a raccoon. It's not. But that is where we got very careful about when we refer to these transformations in the game. Like, we never called it a suit anymore after that. We were really careful to like never refer to it as like anything other than Mario is becoming the Tanuki, not like killing it and then wearing its pelt. But that is the origin of that phrasing. And forever after this, that is what they're called. If you look at every video after this incident, like in like every trailer, suits was like a banned word at that point.
But you never thought that when you were playing these games, right? Because it would just like pop out of the block. You're like, oh, here we go. Here's this cool thing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's not like I'm stomping a Tanuki.
No, exactly. And same thing, like the little frog suit, right? We had like those other
none of those.
Suits.
You don't get a Goomba suit for stomping Goombas.
Or like the cat.
Yeah.
They're all transformations.
Right.
Like you never, I mean, even before we called it a transformation, you never thought
So that was, it's just like, this is like.
It was like nonsense.
You don't even understand how this game works. You're just seeing this and like jumping to a conclusion.
Yeah. Because we used to be called Tanuki suit.
Right.
And they basically were like, oh, we can sensationalize this. Yeah.
Bring back the frog suit.
Yes.
Luigi has a question. Back in July 2020, the dark times, there was an IQ leak that leaked previous Pokemon games along with their beta concept designs. SNES, Super Mario World, a Super Donkey Kong game that was possibly reworked into Yoshi's Island, and N64 games, Ocarina of Time with beta assets, L was real with a scrapped co-op Luigi mode, etc. People also data mine games and their contents and upload them to websites such as the Cutting Room Floor for all of us to see. While this is awesome for us on the fan end of things to see some music, assets, etc. that are left over in the code of the game, how does Nintendo feel about this? Do they speak about people data mining their games and have developers deleted any leftovers in the code? Do they try to sue hackers that are data mining? Have you seen any of these? What do you think as a fan? Thank you both for your amazing podcast and content.
Oh, this was bad.
Data mines.
This was bad. This was like probably one of the biggest leak, like sort of like the giga leak or whatever.
Sure.
That happened. That really was a pretty big deal.
Right. But data mining is different from that. Like that's something that's out there that people like go through the code.
Yeah, the code. Yeah, the data mining.
And I mean, this was the source of a lot of like legitimate leaks. Wasn't this the Smash Brothers DLC?
Yep.
The like Ryu for the Wii U Smash
that
stuff
was
got leaked due to data mines.
Mining, yep.
And from then on, it was just like this laundry list of things that would get leaked because the game would come out, people would look through the code, and aha, look what I found.
Right.
And we more and more would proactively report on this of like, hey, maybe
people are doing this.
I think again, we don't know how you're making these games, but if there's any way to take the stuff out that doesn't need to be there, maybe you should do that.
Yeah.
Because these leaks keep happening, and it didn't seem to stop. So again, I'm not a game developer. I don't know, like, if you have some DLC, like, do you need to have some hook that people, is going to be recognizable, that the DLC needs to eventually connect to. I don't know. But this seems to be a recurring flub.
Yeah, yeah. But they did take it pretty seriously, though, when this happened. They were like trying to clean up some of the stuff on the back end to make sure that it didn't happen again, because they realized that a lot of these leaks were happening because of source code stuff.
Yeah.
And people data mining, different parts of the game.
Right.
And it was becoming more of like a popular thing to do, I guess, and a popular way for people to like release all this stuff online. So they did take it really seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of point to like the chaotic nature of game development too, where like there can be things that are not used that just get abandoned but are still floating around in the code.
Yeah.
Or also like, sometimes they'll use code names or, other things that, you might not want to be in there. Like, is it a case where you're just so relieved that you got the thing working and done? It's like, oh, do they actually want to go through and like, oh, now we need to delete all these things? It's like, oh my gosh, you're going to break it again. We just got it to work. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
So
it's a miracle.
There is this very interesting line of like, how much of this do we want to meddle in with these poor developers who are just trying to get this thing to work and get it out the door?
They needed to get it by a certain time. The pressure is on. The thing, too, with me personally is, like, I have no interest in this. I don't know if I feel like other people have high interest in this. Yeah. But, like, I've never really liked the whole, like, show me your work, kind of, like, show me the behind the scenes of, like, how this comes together. Like, like, it's like asking a magician, like, how'd you do that?
Right.
Like, show me how you did that card trick. It's like, I don't want him to know. I like the card trick. That was magical, and the experience was so cool for me. I'm just gonna believe in the magic.
Yeah, I kind of.
So like, I kind of
don't either, because it's like, they're always working on stuff, and not everything they work on gets out. And it's like, yeah, I guess it can be interesting to see like what the general ideas were, but like sometimes people go like, oh, we needed this, or this would have been incredible. It's like, well, there's probably a reason why it didn't come out.
And then now you just like kind of ruined it for yourself, because it's like ignorance is bliss, right? It's like now you know too much, and now the magic is gone.
You're an expert in that, let me tell you.
I am. That's why I'm Bulbasaur.
Vegan Gamer with a Y. Hello, Kit&Krysta. It looks like Echoes of Wisdom might have different Hylian skin tones, just like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's great to see some diversity in one of Nintendo's big franchises, but it has me wondering why there isn't as much in Super Mario. Even Princess Daisy's original browner skin tone has been retconned. What do you think is the reason for this? Representation matters, and it would mean a lot to people to see Mario characters representing how they see themselves.
The whole Daisy thing was so strange.
When I saw Daisy mentioned in this question, like, we gotta have this.
We have to talk about this.
We have to have this.
Yeah, because there was this one thing. What game was it for? Was it Mario Odyssey? No.
I forget the game. It might have been like a Mario Party game.
Mario Party.
But yeah, like they approached us and they said, okay, in this new game is going to have Daisy in it. We're going to be making an adjustment to her skin tone. And, it's going to be darker. She's from the desert. This kind of matches who this character is.
Right.
So we want you to be ready and, prepared to answer any questions. We want you to know the background. We want you to know this is happening.
Right.
And we got prepared. We, the Q&A that you just mentioned, we got all of that prepared, ready to go.
We were like all on board with the new Daisy look.
Right, and then we finally saw the game, and it looked exactly the same. Like we could not tell a single difference.
We looked at it so closely, side by side. We're like, how is it different?
So it's so interesting that this question came up, because clearly they are thinking about that and making these on-the-fly tweaks, but it was so minor that nobody noticed.
But they are thinking about it.
Right.
They are thinking about it. I think they are thinking about it a lot. And you do see it sort of slowly evolving. Like in every game, you see a little bit of it evolving. Like in every Fire Emblem game, you're like, oh, okay, we're getting a little better here. Mm-hmm. In every like Zelda game, you're like, oh, all right, we're getting a little better here. We got some stuff going. We got some diversity. This is nice. Like some representation. Okay. But yeah. They were thinking about it for Daisy, but the skin looked the same to us. It looked
the same. Exactly the same.
But maybe in this Mario Party game, they'll try again.
Yeah.
And make her look more like what Daisy's supposed to look like, But I agree. I think it would be great to have better representation in games in general, definitely in Nintendo games. But I do have a lot of faith that this team is very open to these kinds of things, and the localization team, the person that's heading that team up, like, they are always having these kinds of conversations with the Nintendo developers. And yeah, I really trust that the evolution is slow, but it is happening.
Last question is from Link, not to be confused with Superstar Link the Hero Wins. This is a different Link.
Capital N Link.
Capital N, yes. With there being no more Mario and Sonic Olympic game titles due to the Olympics' focus on NFTs, do you think Nintendo and Sega will collab for a future title like a more traditional platformer, keen to what we see from Mario and Sonic today? Or would it be more of a party-style game like we got from the Olympics, but with a different theme?
Interesting. I could see that. You don't want this.
I don't want it, but I could see,
like
it. Sonic in a Mario Party. Sonic and Mario Party.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see that working.
I don't think Mario will ever be in a Sonic game, but I think Sonic might show up as a cameo in like a Mario game.
Like what kind of a Mario
Like
game?
a Mario Party.
Okay.
Something like that. But not like a traditional 2D, platformer, but
yeah, I mean it does make sense in Mario Party because that is a big cast of characters coming together. Like they are always kind of on the lookout for like what's some kind of minor thing we can introduce to make it feel new because we're doing so many of these.
Like it's a
and like
samey.
that could be some fresh ideas brought into the series if we introduce these like. It's like, okay, now there's all these different boards we can do that are based on.
Like
we
Sonic
got the Green Hill Zone board and so on.
Put that music in.
I mean, I'm glad to keep the two separate, but if somebody brought up that idea and I was in charge of Mario Party, I'd sit down and think about that real hard.
Or it's like a Mario sports mix or something like that. It could include like a Sonic cameo.
Yeah.
You could like unlock that character or something like that. That could be kind of cool. Or it's like, something where there is a large cast of characters where it's not just like just the two IPs mashed together. I think would be more palatable.
Yeah, I think it's for the best that they not cross over either way in their like official main platforming games. But yeah, like now, we've seen some ways that these can work. And obviously there's an ongoing interest in it. Like I was kind of surprised at how many people were bummed out that there was no Olympics game with the two this year. So
that's so true.
Yeah, I think it's worth them exploring maybe what else they could do.
Totally.
Those are the questions. Thank you, everybody.
Good stuff. Let's wrap up this great episode with some wonderful shout-outs, shall we?
Yeah.
We'll start with our final boss, Aaron Hash.
Aaron Hash. Once the boss, always the boss.
Always the boss. Here we go with our superstars, Mario Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up. _
VGM Life.
Link the Hero Wins.
Angela Bycroft and her pig Molly.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Bruce Dash.
Simon.
Crushuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
And 40 Gig.
Oh boy. Okay. And the One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Alejandro.
Astrodev.
Awesome 46.
Bad Luna Rising.
Bates.
Ben GB.
Big N Gamer with a Y.
Bookham Dano.
Bookishly Fab.
Brandon Cavapill.
Brent Dennison.
Brooke Obscura.
Brovac Novak.
Cameron.
Shadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Chris Q.
Crispysaurus.
Christopher Lay.
Christopher Thompson.
Captain Alex.
Christabel.
C Roper 17.
Dachshund.
Doinko.
Elite Peach.
Espars 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Fairbound.
Fernie and Jess Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Happy Sloth.
In Space Khalil.
Iris Merritt.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hovick.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Judy Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Krista Roddy Elf.
Christopia Party with me.
Kyle Gamerberry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Lex, excuse me.
Oh, Link 9898.
Lit.
Luigi 53.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Marky Man 64.
Mario Man 392.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Craven.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSM Poke Gamer.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Niaf E.
Ninja 11.
Pangy.
Paul.
Paul Gale Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Raver.
Rain Tech.
Record Rumble.
Ryuji Utsu Okoto.
Wraith 1.
Rob.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Ryanetta.
Sakura Sky.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Schnazzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citrone.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Kagers.
The Shark Among Men.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Timmy V.
Torcheeks.
Totally Joed.
Travis Torline.
Trajawi.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tuscoop.
Tyler Geis.
Video Game Stupid.
Vitch Michter.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Weep Kingdom.
WG Grizzy.
YU.
Wicked Davy.
Will Johnson.
Zelgaroth.
The Patty.
And Zoid.
Wow. You forgot Pseudo Priest last week.
I was reprimanded.
You were reprimanded.
But you know what? I deserve that.
Slap on
I deserve that.
for the beautiful Pseudo Priest that you did not put in
We'll
the
make it up.
shout-outs.
We will make it up to you, Pseudo Priest.
Okay, great. Wow, what an episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/KitandKrysta. There's tons of cool stuff there, including the upcoming Link to the Past spoiler
Yeah.
cast. Very exciting stuff.
Some other cool stuff you could do is, if you're watching this on video, you can subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you listen on audio, you can also subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, and a written review, if you please.
And we're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. We're off. We'll see you later.
Bye.